can be. Hi everyone, welcome to another Sunday Smiles. My name is Ibtihal Badawi. I'm expressionistic artist and culture explorer. I use my art to build bridges between different people and to bring people together. And that's why I create Sunday Smiles. And today we have the beautiful Katie. Hi.
I love my title. I love my title. So perfect. People don't just walk around saying, it's the beautiful Katie. I'm taking this everywhere, girl. I'm taking Oh my goodness. I'm so happy to be with you. And truly, like, I love how you introduce yourself because you really are the woman who is building bridges. And that's probably what speaks to me the most in the way that you show up because you, girl, you are so crazy powerful.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and I love your energy. I love every time you talk. I just want to listen.
Same, same. That's why we're together.
So tell us more about you.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So I am an entrepreneur. I've had that spirit in me ever since I can remember. I'm one of 10 children. That sounds crazy, I know. And really like I'm in the YouTube space. I'm in the online video content creation space. And I love that space because in a way it is also like the equivalent of like building bridges because you're creating a space where like people are building communities and they're taking their own skills and really standing for themselves and standing in the value that they have and they're sharing that with other people and really like supporting other people and doing the same thing. That's like the chain reaction that I create. So that's where I've been for several years. I've always been artistic and creative and technical and all of those things, and so I just combine all of those things together. Oh man. Yeah. The other thing that is really that a lot of people actually don't know is that I was born with quite a few disabilities. So I actually don't have hands and I actually don't have elbows either. They're like fused. They're there, but they don't do anything. And I've had surgeries my whole life and hip surgeries. All my joints in my body are like real dramatic. When I say I'm not dramatic, I'm not dramatic, but my body is dramatic. And so the interesting part about growing up with that struggle is that it's taught me to be resilient. It's taught me to um, really show up in a way that says, yo, I get to do this. It's going to look different. It's going to be unconventional, and that's okay. And I get to own that. And so that's really where I've brought that and I bring that into my business and for my clients, and because a lot of the times I attract people who feel the same way in different ways. It manifests itself in different ways, but like they come to me and they're like, oh, I feel like I'm being shoved into a square and I'm a circle. So yeah, it's been an amazing experience. It's been a crazy ride.
Thank you so much for sharing with us, and you're so amazing. You're like have this power and energy that speak through you, like through all your being. Like, how do you get your power? Tell us.
Oh man, I mean, oh, there's so many things in that. I owe so much to my parents and my family because I was brought up in a way where they really said, you know what, we're going to catch you when you fall, but we're going to let you try things. I wasn't in a space where I felt super like people were constantly like holding me and not letting me try things. And that's been true up and like I'm 22 years old. It's been true my whole life and will be like continued because they've set that up for me. It meant that I got to like take the reins and say, okay, let's try things. Let's play with this. Let's fall down and pick ourselves back up and try again. And in a very physical sense, I remember when I was learning how to ride a bike, and there were lots of different things that I had to try to figure out how to do it. And I kept on falling down on one side of my arm constantly over and over and over again. And I remember my mom saying, "Okay, like you get to choose when you're going to stop and take a break and then you can try again. Like you get to choose. But know that you're learning something as this occurs. Like you're learning what doesn't work. You're learning that writing it this way doesn't work or writing or trying it this way isn't working." And so I learned that I get to try things until it works. And that's kind of where I've come from that.
Your mom is amazing.
I know she is.
That's
I'm partial, but she is.
she is amazing, like encouraging you and just, and don't let you give up in your stories, or just, you can, if you want it, you can do it. You can try
Yeah.
over and over until you figure it out. She's
Yeah.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Oh, and she's so resilient in her own way because my parents are older. They're in their mid 60s. It's really really fun to grow up with older parents because generally when I meet people, like I meet people who have actually like who are older and have the same aged parents as I do. So it's a little bit of a different dynamic, but what's really cool is, they were brought up in a time where they had very little and they had to work very very hard for what they did have, and it taught them a different kind of resiliency that they've brought into really just supporting their children. So I watch them, and even though my mom's like, I don't know how you do this entrepreneur space. I don't know how you're like running your business and doing shows and like what is all of this stuff, but you just like, I'll feed you. I'll feed you and you just do your thing.
God bless her. She's amazing. And what, like, you also do music, DJ? Like, what else do you do? You have a couple of talents, girl.
I have so many random skills, guys. And this is the cool part. And this is what I just want to say because sometimes we think we walk in, and it doesn't matter what age you're in. I talk to a lot of younger people, I talk to a lot of older people. It's the same thing. Sometimes we think, okay, we got to find that thing that we're going to do for the rest of our lives, whatever stage we're in, that thing. And I I finally just decided, you know what? It's not going to be a thing. It's going to be a lot of things, and I get to be okay with that. I've played piano for many many years. I started playing when I was 9, and I am an artist, and I'm a singer, and I'm a stage manager, and I'm a sound engineer, and like I have all of these random things that I always looked at it. I'm like, oh, am I wasting my time? No, I'm just combining all these skills together to create an awesome life where I get to do a little bit of everything and be totally okay with that. And that like perpetuates itself in how I show up in my business too, because a lot of people are feeling like I have to find that one thing and that one thing isn't making me happy. Cool. So let's let's do things that actually we enjoy and also create income in our lives.
Yes, yes, so true. How did you figure it out? Like, when did it hit you? It's like it's okay to do multiple things. And how did you realize that?
Well, it came through like basically 2 years of it came through a year of chronic pain and then the year after that depression. I when I ga ugh, high school was a crazy mess because I was so busy. I was doing all these things and my body was trying to keep up. And I got to the point where I was literally like I couldn't sleep at night and I was having like terrible pain. I was going to the hospital. They couldn't do anything for me. Like it was a mess. I got out of that and then went right into depression. And for those of you who know me, like Abdul, like even though I haven't known you for that long, like that's probably a very odd thing to think about. Katie not happy, Katie not joyful, Katie like really weird. And my family is like, what is going on here? And it stopped me in my tracks because it made me realize, oh my goodness, I'm like going so fast and I'm avoiding all these things that I'm not really looking at. There were a lot of things that I wasn't happy with. There was a lot of things I didn't like about myself, and I was just beating on myself by like creating all this busyness. And so it stopped me in my tracks. I was going like full time to college and transferring to 4-year college and all these transitions. And I finally just said, you know what, am I really happy in this space? Am I happy thinking about doing this one thing for the rest of my life? No, I did. Like I'm literally creating physical pain because of this. And so it caused me to realize I get to take a break and I get to find things that I enjoy and make money out of that. So I started YouTube for fun and I loved it. And then I started teaching other people to do it. And then I'm like, I love teaching these skills. I could run a business like this. And my parents were like, okay, go do it. Do what you want to do. And it's been a journey, and it's been an amazing journey to see, oh my goodness, it doesn't matter what it looks like 5-10 years from now because it will probably look different, but knowing that that's okay. And that's not a common perspective, but I'm on a mission to create like a world where everybody gets to create what they want to create and be okay with that. and not feel like they're the circle in the box, that they just get to be the circle.
That's so beautiful. Like you having this space for people to share what they love, and it's okay if they fall. It's okay if they
Yeah.
be messy. It's okay.
Yeah. 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 Exactly. I love that.
And it's amazing how the body is like when we try to shove our feeling in and we don't express how do we feel authentically, open our heart, it manifests in our body by pain.
100%. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And it's interesting talking to people, especially, I hang out a lot with the older people in my life. And I mean older as in anybody who's older than 22. But the reality is, like, when I spend time with people who have been through more life than I have, they look at me and they say, oh my goodness, like, be so grateful that you're learning this stuff now, because I didn't learn this stuff until I was like late 30s, 40s, like 50s. What I'm learning is now I can tell when I'm stressed. Normally, I won't be able to tell emotionally first. I will tell in my body first. Like, my body is telling me before my emotions tell me. I've never been a crier. I am more of a crier now than I've cried more in this last year than I've ever cried in my life. And it's felt actually amazing to like let it out and let it go, and not be the type of person that's like, well, I'm just going to take it and it'll be fine. But my body tells me first before my emotions tell me. And so now I know, you know what? It's not okay to be in a space where I'm in pain. Something is wrong. My body's telling me that. I just sort of used to write it off as like, well, my body's dramatic, whatever. Now I know, oh my goodness, my body's telling me something's not right.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, yes. It's like just listen. Let's just listen. Sometimes we try to be in the doing part, being busy, so we don't listen to our body like calling us like, with all this pain and we just shove it inside, but just
Yeah.
listening. Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing, amazing thing to have in early age.
Yeah, I'm so grateful, and I know, and this is the thing that I want every single person who ever watches this to know. Sometimes we are in resentment of the pain that we experience, some like physical pain, emotional pain, trauma, whatever it is. Sometimes we're in resentment of that, and we choose not to see how it's creating perspective, a unique perspective that no one else has. And so to know that I'm learning things out of the pain, and I'm learning how to be resilient and how to listen to my body and how to show that to other people, that's like a tremendous gift. And I am so willing to pay that price if it means that I go through a little bit of pain that I'm not even really like, I'm not in control of it. It happens. It's my body. It's just, like, I can't grow hands. Like, this is how I am, and I'm good with that. But there's hard time, there's days where it's difficult. There's days where, like, I'm in pain, or, I'm going to have hip replacements and things in the future. And like, to know that sometimes there's days where that's really, really hard to think about, but I get to remind myself constantly that I'm learning things through this, and other people are being impacted by that. So just know that the pain you're experiencing, there's more. There's more to it than just the pain itself. And it's something that you can use to be empowered and to empower others.
Absolutely, yes, yes, and also it helps to appreciate your journey you're going through in life,
Yeah.
and don't compare yourself with others. This is the life you chose to live now. So by going through the pain, by by experience all the feeling, you just learn, and people learn from your journey.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's such an exciting feeling to know that it's not just about me in a way that, like, so when I was younger, I was very dramatic, and I was like, I want to be in theater. I want to be an actress. I want to be on the stage. Can you guys even imagine?
Mm.
And it was so interesting because everything was, I was making everything about me, in the sense that, like, I wanted attention. I wanted, like, that was a part of my identity, is like people saying, oh my goodness, you're amazing. What I learned through this last year is that when people told me, Like as I got older, when people told me, "Oh, you're being selfish," I was hearing them say, like, I don't care about them. And what I noticed is that sometimes being selfish is not choosing yourself first, setting yourself up to win so that you can create that for other people. So now I know, hey, when I wake up in the morning, I'm just not going to rush around and be helping people and be like running my body in the ground, which is what I was doing when I was in high school. That's why I hit a wall. I was constantly saving other people and not choosing myself first and not really setting myself up so that I could be in service. And so it's a trade, right? Like we do this and we create this and we stand in ourselves because we get to be in service, and we also get to choose that service for ourselves too. Sometimes we forget that piece.
Yes, yes. It's a very important piece. Like it's true, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? And self-love is that cup you give yourself. You energize yourself every day. But if you put others on top of yourself, it it
There's
won't,
nothing there then.
yeah, and also it won't be you. I don't think it will be from a space of love.
No. No, and I've played that game, and I think a lot of people have. And what ends up happening is you create a space of resentment because you didn't choose yourself first. You're choosing other people, and then you get burned out, or you don't create the results you wanted to create, and then you're like, "Well, I was busy doing all of these other things for other people." And then again, it comes back to it being about you and not being about giving in a space of generosity and service. When we choose ourselves first, and we give ourselves energy, we do things emotionally, physically, spiritually, when we like are in that space where we're reviving ourselves, then we can give that energy to other people, but not before because there's nothing there. It's like starting with an empty cup every morning, and you get to fill it up, and you're going to give it, you're going to give some to other people, and you're constantly going to be giving yourself those things to fill it back up. So by the end of the day, you still have a full cup. Like that's my goal for my life. And that's what I'm sharing with other people. It's like we get to have a full cup. We get to constantly be giving and putting stuff back in so that we can pour it back out. And it's like this constant, beautiful cycle of like being in service to others and to ourselves.
Yes, so beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you. So guys, anyone have questions? You can ask Katie.
Of course, I do.
I love it.
There were two things really. The first one is back when you were talking about pain and learning from pain. One additional layer I would add to what you were saying is, especially as women, we are often taught to suck it up and deal. So we're taught to ignore pain, and we're told, don't ever let anybody see it. It's weakness. Don't do this. Don't do that. So my question there is, how did you get to a point where you were able to identify the triggers? What was actually happening with that pain? Was there something specific? Was it something you learned over time? I'm very curious how you got to that very important point.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I love what you said, especially for women. I see that. And it's not even necessarily something like it's not even necessarily something like my parents taught me. It's just this like unsaid layer and vibe about the way that our world kind of revolves. We just sort of do that, and then we don't stop to ask ourselves the question, why am I doing this? Like, what, this doesn't make any sense. Like, this is not logical. For me, what I noticed is, well, it's been a journey. It's definitely been a total journey, and I've learned a lot this last year because Abtal and I are in this insane leadership training that's taught us a lot about how, and what I've come out of this learning is that I get to know how my body is processing like trauma and stress and even like joy and happiness. How do I respond to those things so then I can know in my body? So what I've learned, especially through high school and college, is that I tend to avoid the thing that's stressing me out, and I will get busy. So there are times when I'm happy and joyful and I'm busy, but it doesn't feel like busyness. I never use that word when I'm in I'm being joyful, because I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm expansive, I'm creating time, I'm supporting other people, I'm supporting myself, like I'm in a space where I'm in abundance. But when I am stressed, I'm constantly saying the word busy. I'm constantly stressed and overwhelmed by people coming in and interrupting me. So I've been able now to notice, okay, am I tensing up? I literally, like, I got to the point where I had ear pain and jaw pain for a year. And I finally went to the doctor and he's like, are you clenching? Like, I didn't think I was, but I totally was, because once I realized that's what it was, that's where my stress is going. So it's being aware, it's getting support. A lot of it has been my doctors saying, yo, like, this is what's happening. So it's getting that support and not just avoiding it. And that comes from a place of saying, no, I get to listen to my body. And if my body's saying I'm in pain, I don't get to ignore it. So it comes from that space of being a little bit against the grain and saying, no, I don't have to suck it up. And I get to, like, look at this. So those are some of the pieces that I've learned. I hope that supports. But
Yes, it does. Very
Yeah.
much so. Thank you.
I have a question too, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
about living with chronic pain. Because
Yeah.
that's been my story for the last 10 years of my 65 years of life. And I mean, I've got plenty of emotional pain that I know where that comes from. And I've learned to cry.
Yeah.
And just when it comes, I've had lots of traumas. When those memories come back, I just cry it out and I'm okay afterwards. But it's the day-to-day, like not being able to do the things around my house that I used to be able to do. Move things, go up and down the steps, you know. It's getting harder and harder to live in my current environment. And that saps my energy and keeps me out of my studio. It keeps me just longing for company rather than being okay alone. I get nervous about being alone because I fall a lot. So I'm not really sure, like, how do you deal with, do you have chronic pain from, your everything that you've got going on there? And how do you get through that? I mean, pain medicine does not help me anymore. I've gotten on the marijuana, medical marijuana thing. Sometimes that helps, sometimes it doesn't. I'm all the time looking for ways to live through my pain rather than just sit down and give up.
Yeah, that's a key piece there. That's totally key piece there, is like being determined to find the answers.
Yeah.
I love everything you said there, because it really is, like, it's a daily struggle. I'm grateful that I don't have like a tremendous level of chronic pain. However, it's interesting. I didn't actually realize until I got out of college that I have pain every single day when I wake up and when I go to bed. Like, I was like, oh my goodness, I never even knew it, because like I just wasn't thinking about it. It's just a part of life.
Right.
But I noticed, and especially as a young person, I remember being in high school and the girls, my friends would like go out, they'd go what they called coffee hopping. They'd go all around downtown area and they would go coffee shopping. I could never keep up with them. I couldn't walk everywhere with them.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling really bad because I was like, I'm missing out on something because of this thing I have. And it was hard, and there were tears and there was frustration, but I finally just said, you know what? I'm either going to choose to be miserable because of this, or I'm going to create my own fun that I can do. And you know what? If that means inviting my friends to my house, because then I know we're not going to be traipsing all over the place, like maybe that's what I do.
Right.
And that's easier said than done, because again, there's a lot of emotions attached to the physical state of your body.
That's true. That's very true.
That's the piece. And that's the piece that's daily. Just a daily reminder. I think gratitude is a huge piece of this, and it's been
I agree with you about that. I mean, I lost a child. He was stillborn at 2 weeks past his due date. And for as hard as that was, and still is, I mean, that was 40 years ago. Back then, they didn't tell you how to have a stillborn child. They just took them away, and that was the end of that.
That's so hard. So there's no closure.
Right. So it's been 40 years of finding closure, but the one thing I've noticed and that I'm truly grateful for is that when I meet up with another woman who's lost a child or miscarried or anything like that, or can't have children and is aching for them that she can't have, my heart breaks.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably a good thing. Everybody needs to know they're not alone in their
Yeah.
pain. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So it helps me just to hear you talk about your life and
Yeah.
knowing that you've got a lot of physical obstacles and pain that you work past.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I need that. I need that as much at my age as you do at yours.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
good for
The
you.
loneliness piece is a really, really good point. And this is something I remember when I was dealing with chronic pain, and it was like for a whole year. And I'd have these like episodes where I'd literally it would start with a migraine, and then for 2 weeks I'd literally be on the couch. I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And then it would end with a migraine. So I was like, yay, the
Oh,
migraine,
Lord.
and yay, like I was like excited. I'm like waiting for this migraine to happen because it was like my body saying, okay, we're done.
Right.
And then I'd have like a week or 2 weeks off. And then it would
it'd start again. Wow.
And my poor family, because like they didn't know what to do. Like, what do you do with someone who's in pain all the time? You
All the
can't
time.
necessarily relate to it. It's like, what? We
Right.
can't fix this. We can't we can't have ice cream for like 2 weeks every 3 weeks. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
what do you do, right? And I
Right.
remember there were times where I felt like so crazy alone. And it wasn't until I like went to PT and went to OT and like was with other people that were having pain and was with people who understood what that pain was like and had been with patients like it wasn't until I got in spaces where people actually understood. Because like it wasn't like my family, it's not like my family was ignoring me. They didn't know what to do. They
Right.
couldn't relate. They were trying to
Right.
help, but they didn't really know how. And I didn't know
Right.
how to ask. I didn't know what would make it better.
Yeah, that's a hard thing it's
Yeah.
a hard thing to ask for help when you need it. Yeah,
Yes.
that's for sure.
is-
And when you need it all the time, when you're getting to be a burden on your friends and family. So yeah, that's hard.
You know, the interesting part is I think that's so much in our heads because I've noticed the times where I'm telling myself, oh, I'm not good enough or people don't want me around. I create that wall.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
because I'm pushing away and they're like, what happened? And that's what relationships have often been like for me is like I will push away before people push me away. That's in my head. It's not really happening. It's like I'm telling myself that. So it's just like it's choosing a perspective that's empowering. Let's forget about what's real and what like just choosing something that is an empowering thought is kind of where I've landed because it's
Good for
a
you.
continual. Like, honestly, even this weekend, I've been like, oh my goodness, I'm not asking for support. I have all these nerds around. Like, Avital knows this. I've had conversations with her about it. Like, oh my goodness, like, why am I lone wolfing? All these things. So this is like, it's continual.
Right.
All the time.
Right. Well, thank
That's
you.
a
Thank
journey,
you for answering my
yes.
question.
The power of the
I was-
mind is so powerful. Yes,
Yeah.
Dottie, you have a question?
Oh yes, I just want to say, yeah, that's beautiful, Katie, and your inspiration, and I love what you say about being curious and always looking for the answers, and just the whole presentation is very inspiring. And Brenda, I would love to just add on a PS if you would. You are more than welcome to message me actually, because I've had some really amazing success stories just in the past couple weeks of people pain relief, and I do a lot of natural pain relief, and I'm getting my story put together. Some of the pictures might be on my Instagram, which is Mila Star 22, but I've had a few success stories with pain relief. So if you want to reach, if you would like to reach out, I appreciate so
thank
much your
you.
vulnerability, being
Thank
vulnerable.
you.
So
Yeah.
Great.
That's amazing.
I'll open my Instagram and follow you, and then later on I'll get in touch with you. Thank you so much.
yeah, that's
great.
amazing.
You
And
guys, I will connect you together. So guys, because of time, I want to share like the art exercise together. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you everyone for joining us. And Katie, before we start the art exercise, can you tell everyone about your new workshop you're doing?
Oh, yes, guys. Okay. This is you guys will love this. This is amazing. So, I'm doing there's 3 different ones to select, but it's all about abundance. This is something that I've really noticed over the last few months is that oftentimes, especially in the creative world, it's not about money. We just want to be free from the need to make it or to like
Mhm.
be dependent on it. So it's more about like the people we serve and feeling alive in what we do. And so like from in my business this has been like abundance week, and it's been like all about how are we creating abundance, what's the opposite of like how do we notice when we're in scarcity, all those things. So with that being said, I've created a masterclass around abundance, and there's like different sections of it, but the one that I think you guys would absolutely love is my morning habit abundance class, and it's so going to be fun. It's going to be tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time, and I'll actually, can I just like drop the link in the chat or something?
Yes, yes, let
Cool. I'll just
me,
drop it there. It's
yes.
gonna be so much fun. It's
Oh.
amazing. It's like it's $10. It's gonna be absolutely amazing. And like for like Brenda and is it Melissa?
Yes.
Okay, for Brenda and Melissa, like you can bring a friend. So like the two of you can go together and it'd be really fun. It'd be like a date. It'd be fun. I'll drop the link in here.
Yes, yes, please drop the link.
Yeah.
And I will also like share it on my page. So
Mhm.
share it in the email list for Sunday Smiles. Yes, so guys, don't miss it. It's only $10. It's like this is a really great deal. And Katie, who don't want to hear Katie in the morning? I mean,
Yes.
come on. It's like
Woohoo.
a dose of happiness, a dose of happiness and encouragement for the morning. Thank you so much.
Ironically now in the morning I'm actually even more energetic than I am right now, which might you're like probably like what? How can it be more?
Yes, I'm gonna share it with everyone. Thank you so much, Katie. Thank you.
Yeah.
So guys, if you have a paper and a pencil and colors, let's start the art exercise. Let's take a couple of deep breaths. Close your eyes. Inhale and hold it for 4 seconds and then exhale. Be grounded in your body. So today we talk about resilience. So I want you to imagine if resilience was a key, how that would look like for you. What shape, what size, what's the name of the key, if you have a word for that key, to use it whenever you have that pain that you cannot express, whenever you have that self-doubt, when you ever you have blocks that block your day that you can't move forward, what that key will look like, what shape, what size, how does it feel to you? Take a deep breath and imagine that key. Now I want you to open your eyes and draw that key, whatever it looked like. And whenever you finish, you can send me a picture so I can share it on Sunday Smile. You can draw anything. It doesn't need to be a shape of a key, but it will. But I thought of key like it's opening, like, it opened new ways for you to be resilient. So guys, how do you have anything so far? Can you show us?
Nowhere near being
Getting
finished.
there.
Yeah, there's lots to do on mine. It's got to open lots of
Oh,
doors.
I love it. It's beautiful.
Let's see. Oh, that's great. Mine's a little similar, only different.
Oh, I
You
like
see
it. I love it. What
I'm so
about you,
funny.
Melissa?
I'm doing little.
Oh, it's so pretty. This is mine. I get to color it. Yes, it have hearts. Open your heart to new possibility for
That's
resilience.
a great idea. Right, right.
Yes, yes. So guys, if you can take a picture of your key of resilience, you can send it to me to sunday.smiles@hotmail.com or to sunday.smiles25 at Instagram. So thank you, Katie, for being with us today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. It was really fun. Thank you.
Great to meet you all.
Thank you too.
Have a great Sunday and see you in another Sunday Smile. And don't forget to sign up at Katie. Katie tomorrow. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Love you all. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.